Buongiorno, welcome everyone to the beautiful island of Sardinia. Pretty much back-to-back WRC gravel rallies at the moment, and we are loving it. I'm Bex Williams. I'm going to be commentating through Shakedown with you today, and joining me is very experienced, professional, and the rather lovely co-driver, Seb Marshall. Good morning, Seb.
Good morning, Bex. Thanks for having me in with you.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So we have Sébastien Ogier ready to go on the start line of Shakedown this morning. And there are the championship standings after 4 rounds of the WRC so far this year, with Ogier, of course, in the lead. And that means he'll be first on the road today and, of course, on Friday. So there's the countdown, ready to go. 30 seconds until he's into the Shakedown stage. And we've moved over now to the east coast of the island. The base is Olbia. Now, this is where we started back in 2004 with Rally Italia de Sardegna. We've been here many, many times in this region, but lots of new stages for our drivers to tackle this time around, and some that they will be familiar with as well. It's going to be a highly interesting weekend out there. Now, a pretty short Shakedown stage to get us started, Seb.
Yeah, just under 3 kilometres in length. We can see, as is typical of a lot of the gravel rallies now, starts on tarmac, but then quite a narrow stage. We've heard from a few of the drivers, it's perhaps not the most representative of the stages on the rally, but nonetheless, it just gives them a chance to settle themselves in again. They're all feeling fairly fresh from Rally Portugal just a week or so ago.
Yeah, not too long since, obviously, the last gravel rally, which was the first for quite some number of days. I think over 220 days from the last gravel event. But Portugal got everyone in the mood. But this is a different challenge to what we saw in Portugal. What makes Sardinia different, Seb?
Yeah, Sardinia is one of the most challenging events of the season, really. At the point that it falls in the year, in the summer, temperatures are very high, which has a huge impact on tyre wear. There's a lot of jumps on this rally, as we saw from Seb there. This generally can be quite rough, rocky. It's really hard on the car and hard on the drivers too.
Now, Seb walked away with, a podium position back in Portugal. He was better than he expected. It is going to be a tough challenge for him here, but he said the one thing that might be in his favour is that the road may take longer to clean. So it cleans quite quickly in Portugal. So we were noticing, car 3, 4 was even getting an advantage. But here, there's a lot more loose, and it takes a little bit longer to clean.
Absolutely, yeah. Typically, Sardinia is probably the worst event of the season for the road cleaning. Like you said, Neuville at the end towards the end of Friday in Portugal was well up there from second on the roads. But yeah, I'd expect here, certainly, particularly on those Friday morning stages, there's a lot of soft sand and gravel to be cleaned out of the way.
Well, Sébastien Ogier certainly knows how to win here. He has done that a few times, 13, 14 and 15. And he's been on the podium a total of 6 times, including those wins. So Sardinia has been successful for him, and he has now completed his first run of Shakedown. You can tell how short it is. It's just 1:54.8 for him to get through.
He's barely broken a sweat there. That's the only time we'll see that this weekend.
Well, quite. Molly Pettit is at the stop control ready to chat to our drivers ahead of a long and hot weekend here in Sardinia as we switch now to second on the road. Elvin Evans and Scott Martin, the beautiful sound as they get off the line. That's going to wake you up. That's a nice little alarm call in the morning for us. Let's hear from Seb.
Tomorrow for you, could you let us know your thoughts about the first loop of stages tomorrow morning?
Well, I don't know what I should think about it, but yeah, it won't be easy, that's for sure. So yeah, we have to try to take risks like always to try to compensate, but for sure we expect to lose a lot of time tomorrow.
Just going it back to Elvin over that jump looks pretty awkward, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's an awkward approach. It kind of with turning just before the camber of the road is kind of kicking the car a little bit. With seeing it the second time, not quite as dramatic as I thought, but yeah, that part of characteristic of the stages is certainly a feature here in Sardinia, particularly on the new stage we had last year that caused a lot of standout performances in Tempio.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And what I like is happen, and now we are mixing it up again. We do have new stages in there. The co-drivers were hard at work last night, making sure that the pace notes are absolutely spot on, cleaning up pages and pages of new notes, effectively. So big job for the co-drivers again here.
It is massive, and like we were saying, because the roads are so rough here, more often than not, a lot of the co-drivers will rewrite the whole new stage. So it's a huge task, you know, to make sure you've copied all the information correctly, and but it does mean you've got a nice clean road that you can see a lot easier when it's getting bumped around in the stages.
As Elvin makes his way then to the stop control, just 9/10 of a second slower than Ogier through there. We'd like to say a big good morning to you around the world, wherever you are watching. Make sure you stick with us on WRC Plus this weekend to watch every single stage of the rally live as it plays out. It's always an exciting event, and this man has been a big part of the excitement for many years. Lots of final stage shootouts for Newville.
Off the back of a great win in Portugal, what sort of expectations have you got for this weekend?
Yeah, morning. Obviously it's not going to be easy out there. We know it's going to be pretty slippery on these first runs, but you know, we have to do what we can. Looking forward to an event, and I think it's going to be you know, quite a long and difficult one, I guess.
Definitely going to be a long and difficult event, but you know, Elvin Evans walking away with the confidence after the win in Portugal just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I think he's been knocking on the door all year really, with a couple of podiums before that, and he probably wouldn't have expected it going into the start of the weekend in Portugal, but yeah, fantastic result for him. He might struggle a bit more here, being second on the road now, but I think, you know, he's always been there or thereabouts.
Now, Newville. I mean, I mentioned at the start when we saw him off the line, incredible results here over the years. He's been on the podium 6 times, 2 wins under his belt. And I think the famous win, we'll always remember the final day shootout with Sebastian Ogier, where he took the win by 7/10 of a second. That was edge of your seat stuff. I remember being in the Hyundai camp, filming all the mechanics, watching the TV as they were waiting to see what the result would be, and the reaction was just incredible. And it's fair to say Hyundai have been incredibly successful on this island.
Yeah, it's certainly a happy hunting ground for them, with Newville and more recently with Danny Sordo. I guess it's a combination of road position has helped them in the past, but also they've got a very strong car in the stages here that has really proved worthwhile with the reliability.
Okay, so 1.1 seconds down from Sebastian Ogier then. First run of Shakedown this morning. I'm sure the guys will be doing quite a few runs out there. And we'll hear from him now with Molly.
Good morning, third on the road. Any thoughts on what this road position will be like tomorrow?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough weekend out there. There's a lot of loose gravel on the stages, especially on Friday. It's going to be really important to have a good clean run, and yeah, that's what we are aiming for.
I think everyone is going to be wanting that, aren't they? A good clean run out there, but it's so easy to say, much harder in practice. As we switch now to Oit Tanak, Martin Järveoja. Oit picked up his very first podium on this island and then his first WRC win as well. So also happy hunting ground for this man.
Yeah, certainly. I think, you know, Oit's probably going to be quite frustrated from what he experienced in Portugal, you know, dominating the Saturday morning to lead the rally there. So not that he'll have a point to prove, but he'll certainly want to start strongly and kind of, you know, set out with that aim of winning again.
Yeah, I'm sure, and he's got a great road position, and that pace, as you mentioned, in Portugal, it was certainly something special. So that's the positive, in that we know he can deliver that pace on gravel with this car, and I'm sure we're going to see maybe, you know, a repeat performance of, well, hopefully of that pace this weekend as we start tomorrow morning. First stage, early doors tomorrow. Make sure you're with us here on WRC Plus for that, and for every single stage live as they now complete the first pass of Shakedown with a 1:56.2. Now, the car after them should have been Kalle Rovanperä. However, he has an issue. He's making his way back to Shakedown and then will head back out. Making his way back to service, rather. Small technical issue. He's going to come back to service, then he heads back out to Shakedown. So we won't see him within our programme this morning.
morning. Could you describe for us what this year's event looks like and what will be the biggest challenges?
It's not as smooth as Portugal was, and there will be many more surprises with the loose stones, so probably that will be the challenge.
And away he goes. So that's Oid Tanak then away from the stop control. So Ogier, Evans, Neuville and Tanak are our 4 drivers who have so far completed Shakedown, with Ogier setting the fastest pace through on run 1 of Shakedown. Seb, take us through, morning of Shakedown, the decision process between, how many runs you're going to get out there. If you get a good feeling instantly, do you think, well, we're going to save wear and tear on the car?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, obviously, you have to do a minimum of 3 runs in the WRC, so obviously that's the initial focus. You'll have discussed with your engineer the night before, or perhaps on the morning, if you've got any certain settings you want to try with springs or dampers. Generally, you try not to change anything too fundamental, but it might be that you've just something you want to confirm after your pre-event test. I mean, Shakedown's perhaps a slightly more kind of relaxed environment compared to the rest of the rally. There's no sort of pressure in that sense. But yeah, it's still an important part of the weekend. Personally, I always like to kind of do my 3 runs and be done with it, kind of then settle yourself in, but then not go too far, because there's an element that you can
do too much.
Yeah, you can focus too much on a piece of road that, like I said, isn't perhaps going to be representative of what you'll discover for the rest of the weekend.
Takamoto Katsuta then, best result was in Portugal just a few weeks back, and I have to say I think he impressed a lot of people with the pace and the commitment he was showing out there, and it felt like, well, certainly on the Sunday we saw a different Taka. He did pull back for obvious reasons, but it felt like we definitely could have seen more at parts during the weekend. Even when he was going very quickly, it felt when he got to the stop control as if he could have gone a bit faster.
Oh, completely, yeah. I think, with Taka last year, we saw him on the gravel, perhaps struggling a little bit, with some accidents in Estonia and on this event, of course. But he really seems to have found his feet and be quite settled. And yeah, that sort of step performance, at least, is how it looked to me in Portugal, where he really lifted his game and on an equal footing with Ogier on the Saturday was matching and beating him, which is phenomenal.
For him, and that must have been such a confidence booster as well to see that for him. And again, good starting position for Taka. So we're expecting big things again this weekend. Let's hope we see them. He's not had the best of luck at this rally over the years. You mentioned last year the accident. There's been a fire. He had a drive shaft issue one year, which meant he couldn't complete. So there's been 3 times that he's been here and it's not gone well.
Yeah, he's acknowledged that it's perhaps not his favourite event, but nonetheless, I think he's in that mindset now of realising that every event is an important learning experience, and obviously you've got to go to some rallies in the championship that perhaps you don't enjoy, but they're just as critical as the others that you have to tackle.
Now, again, we've had a poll on WRC.com as Taka goes through the red boards, 4.3 down on the fastest time. We've had a poll as to who you think out there is going to win the rally, and who do you think has come back with the highest percentage?
I would expect Danny Sordo, but you never know.
No, it's Oid that's come back. 34% of people are going for Oid Tanak to win, then Danny is 20%, Thierry 18 and Elvin at 12.
It's the Hyundai lockout there,
It is a Hyundai lockout at the moment. We'd like to hear from you though. Use the hashtag WRC Live. Who do you think is going to be the winner out there this weekend? Could it be this man who's going for a hat-trick on the island? Danny Sordo, very successful in the past 2 years here. As we wait to hear from Taka.
Taka, good morning. I'm sure you're looking to go one better than Portugal here in Sardinia. What's the plan this weekend?
No, I would say this rally is a very tricky rally, so I try to stay on the road and then to see what's going to happen. And this rally is not like flat-out rally, so I try to play clever and study, and let's see where I can go. I can be. Thank you.
Yeah, he's noting there that it is a tough, tricky event, but yeah, we're all rooting for Taka, aren't we? You always like to see a driver improve, and he has been improving massively in the past year or so. But Danny Sordo, I mean, he's thrilled us all, really, on this event. Last year was fantastic, and the year before as well. And you can watch Sordo's progress and every other driver that you're following on WRC Plus this weekend. There's the note on the screen to remind you that we will be live for every single stage, every single media zone as well, to chat to the drivers. We've got you covered here on All Live. Seb Marshall, who's next to me in commentary right now, will be at the stop line, as will Molly Pettit. They'll be chatting to the drivers as soon as they finish these tough, challenging stages, getting raw reaction. And joining me in commentary and also in the studio, Chris Meek this weekend joins the All Live crew. We are very much looking forward to having Chris as part of the team. Now, Danny Sordo through then with a 1:56.6. And for the eagle eyes amongst you who would have spotted the note there, Gus Greensmith and Stuart Loudon.
Danny, good morning. I'm sure you're looking for a hat-trick of wins this weekend. What does this year's edition look like?
I did a gear with the helmet. Regarding Shakedown was okay. The beginning was too slow, but yeah, it's very, very slippery with the hard tires and all. It's not easy, but let's see. It's only Shakedown.
Yeah, it is only Shakedown. The real stuff starts tomorrow on stage 1. So let's go back to Gus then. New co-driver alongside him, but just for this event. It's a temporary measure. Chris Patterson, for personal reasons, cannot be here this time around. So it's Stuart Loudon, who has sat alongside Gus Greensmith previously, and he also does set the gravel notes on the tarmac events for the safety crew.
Yes, so yeah, Stuart's familiar with Gus's note system. Like I said, he said a couple of years ago he subbed in for on another rally. He knows the system, he knows how Gus likes to work. So yeah, hopefully it'll be an easy transition just for, like I say, for this one event.
Gus told us last night that Chris Patterson is on the phone to him every single day, so it's like having 2 co-drivers right now.
What a luxury.
What a luxury, eh? He's really being looked after. But what a performance from Gus in Portugal. You know, we really did see a step up in performance from him there.
Yeah, the confidence was really high, and I think he said that he found something on the test that he really liked with the direction of the car, and it showed. Yeah, he was kind of...
We talked about some of the Shakedown stages, as we see, you know, aren't maybe completely representative, and Gus saying that was a tarmac stage, it felt like. Yeah,
we saw a few sections, even after the start line chunk of tarmac, there's another bit in the middle, isn't there? So, yeah, okay, it's just a close enough road to the service park to give a bit of indication.
Yeah, but that's what they want heading into tomorrow, that, you know, as we switch now to Teemu Sunen, and great to see him back in a WRC car. He's been in WRC 2 for the past 2 events. We'll hear from Gus in a moment.
Morning, Gus. A new but familiar face in the co-driver's seat there. Now, after your performance in Portugal, I'm sure you've set the bar pretty high this weekend.
Yeah, obviously look to carry on what we're doing, but that stage was more like a tarmac stage. I was expecting big cleaning, but it was getting slower. There was the amount of rubbish all over the road on the tarmac, so yeah, that'll be something to take into consideration for Sunday.
How's Stuart doing?
He's grand. Smooth.
Smooth, nice.
That's nice to see.
Okay, we have 7 drivers who completed Shakedown this morning. If you are just joining us for the first time, welcome along. It's Sebastian Ogier who's setting the pace on the first run of Shakedown. No dramas to report so far, apart from the fact that Robin Pera has not started the stage. He was on the way to the stage, apparently had a technical issue. He's coming back to service to sort that out, and then we'll head out to Shakedown. And I'm sure you'll read more about that a little bit later on.
Just watching Teemu here, it's going to be fascinating to see how he adapts to being back in the WRC car after 2 events in the Rally 2 spec Fiesta. I think you said he hasn't had a chance to test before the rally, so
no, he hasn't.
Shakedown, a voyage of discovery for him again, and clearly just deciding to play his way back in to the WRC power.
This is, you know, we talked about this, Seb and I were having a big chat about the drivers before we came on air. You know, this is an event he's done well at. His best ever WRC result has come here, and he does seem very much at home on the Sardegna gravel, you know?
Well, yeah, it's curious, really, given, you know, being from Finland, you'd expect the real fast-flowing stages to suit him even better, but something about particular stages as well that he's really got a great feeling with. So, yeah, I'm sure he'll be hoping to to show a good performance with sort of the improvements they've had in the Fiesta in the last few rallies as well.
Timo, good morning. It's great to see you back in this car. You had some brilliant performance here last time out. Do you think there's a chance you will repeat that this weekend?
It will be challenging. The tires are quite different.
Yeah.
Like, I have never seen anything like that, but just need to learn this and try to get a good drive.
Yeah, different in what way?
Everything. Grippy.
Could I have a few words in Finnish, please?
Aikamoinen kokemus oli.
Now we switch to Pierre-Louis Loubet. Now he has, in the past, won his category here, WRC2 back in 2019. We didn't see him for very long, unfortunately, though, in Portugal, did we? Which was a real shame. Hopefully that's going to be a different weekend for him here and no mistakes.
Yeah, I think it was perhaps his best result in a WRC car here as well.
Yes, it was.
So,
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, okay, obviously, like you mentioned, Portugal didn't go to plan, but he only got 2 stages with his new co-driver. So in essence, it's like a kind of fresh start again. But hopefully, he can take some confidence from the previous times on the island.
We welcome back our WRC2 Championship leader, Andreas Mikkelsen. He has quite a lot of experience on this island. And I think, you know, there's going to be a real fire in his belly now after missing out in Portugal. He is really going to want to rack the points up on the board, as we have Loubet now at the stop control.
Yeah, Louis, good morning. Really unlucky in Portugal. How are you feeling about this weekend?
Yeah, honestly, I'm happy to be here. We will try to do good rally, a clean one, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, for Mikkelsen, this is his 11th time on the island. And there's the points on the board for the Drivers' Championship in WRC2. So you can see Mikkelsen is just ahead of Esa-Pekka Lappi, but no Lappi here. And for Lappi, we don't have a committed season. He just keeps kind of popping in and out of events. He never knows when he's, you know, going to get the budget to do any more, which is a real shame because Lappi's done exceptionally well whenever we've seen him.
Yeah, you see there, he scored 59 out of a maximum of 60 points that he could have collected. So clearly he's one of the fastest out there.
Yeah, 2 wins under his belt, Arctic and Portugal. So
it's I think it's fascinating to see this year how competitive WRC2 is. You know, with drivers that have been in the WRC cars in the past, now sort of in the second tier, they're all sort of fighting. It's like an interview for those kind of few remaining spots in the Rally 1 cars next year. So it's meant the competition's really strong, and I think it's making it exciting for everyone to watch.
I think it is, and you know, you talk about that, the few remaining spots in World Rally cars next year, and where everyone is looking to M Sport to see who they are going to pick. And I chatted to Rich Milner last night about it, put him under quite a bit of pressure as to who they were looking at, who they were talking to, when they were going to make that decision. Did he give me a complete answer, Seb? What do you think?
No chance.
But this man has been most linked. But Rich did say they are talking to a number of P1 drivers.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, yeah, there's a huge amount of talent across the board that's more than capable. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see who they settle on, and hopefully they'll want it soon so they can start the development.
Testing. Yeah,
which is a key phase coming up with these new regulations next year.
Andreas, good morning. It's great to see you back in the car. What can you tell us about this year's Rally Sardegna?
I'm struggling to hear what you're saying. It's good to be back in the rally car. It was tough sitting at home in Portugal, not being able to be part of the fight. So it felt very special to come back in Shakedown this morning, and I'm very much looking forward to be competitive, to be fighting. You know, I'm a sportsman. I love competitiveness, so it'll be nice.
Yeah, I think we can confirm he's fired up, so yeah.
Get that impression.
I think so. For Marco Balasia, then, I think it's his 3rd time competing on the island now. Yep, 3rd time. Best result of the season for him so far was in Croatia, so on the tarmac he was 3rd in his category in WRC2.
He played a very sensible rally, I thought, in Portugal. He knew that he was going into there with not as much experience as those around him, so just said was every time I saw him at the stop lines was saying to me it's just a learning process. Every time you could see his confidence was improving, his times were getting closer to the front. So, yeah, for such a young guy, it's really really mature approach.
Yeah, it was his first time, wasn't it, competing in Portugal. At least he has some experience here. Even if we do have a lot of new sectors this year, new stages, he still has an idea of what he's going to be facing, whereas in Portugal it was a brand new experience.
Yeah, that you can't underestimate just how helpful that sort of prior knowledge or kind of just general vibe for the rally is. It really gives you a lot. You can approach even your test in a better way because you know what you want from the car, and when you're writing notes on recce, you know, it can give you a better understanding of how you want to drive the stages and how you're going to interpret that with your pace notes.
So a time for Balasia of 2 minutes, 0.1. Mikkelsen was a 1:59.3 within WRC2, which is where we're at right now on our shakedown test. And Molly's interviewing at the stop control as we switch now to Mads Osberg and Torstein Eriksson. Tough rally for them in Portugal.
Yeah, they... Marco here.
Marco, good morning. You have a hot and challenging event in front of you. What would you say are the biggest challenges for you?
Yeah, it will be very difficult, but it's nice to be here at least 2 times before this one, so we will have more experience compared to Portugal, and I think we can improve our pace and be more on the times. Thank you.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that, because when he is feeling confident, feeling happy with himself and knowing the roads, then you really do see the pace coming through from Balasia. Huge amount of fans as well from home for him. It's incredible the amount of support he has.
Yeah, it's great to see, isn't it? And sorry, yeah, we were just talking about Mads before. Yeah, Portugal was a difficult rally for him, but I think he proved the thing that's key in these championship battles is that even though he was having a bad rally, he made the best job of it. You know, that puncture that he had on Friday really frustrating for him, and you can see he was a bit down, but he refocused and actually played a really smart move to get back on the podium by the end of the weekend. You know, it was a very, again, mature drive. Mads has experienced lots of these rallies before, so no, I think he played the championship battle well in that particular event when he knew he couldn't fight for the win.
Yellow boards then almost through for Osberg. So it's a 1:59.7. So just fractionally slower than Mikkelsen. We were talking as well before we started today with the amount of rallies the drivers have done. We mentioned Mikkelsen was on his 11th appearance. Mads is on his 14th appearance here in Sardinia.
Have they done that many rallies here? Goodness me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they must have done, clearly, but I think he'll almost have done all of them, I would guess.
Yeah.
Morning, Mads. It's a tough weekend ahead, also in the heat here. It would be good for you to finish in front of Andreas championship-wise this weekend. Do you feel you have the package to do that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we had a good feeling from the test, and I feel good this morning. We are taking it a bit careful, just saving the tires for the rally. So yeah, it will be a tough weekend, but I really look forward to a big fight, and it's really nice to have Andreas back as well.
Nice words from Mads there. It is going to be a big fight. And we saw that in Portugal until, unfortunately, he had difficulties. He dropped back. But in WRC2 right now, and I know we talk about it all the time, and everyone talks about it on social media as well, the field is so good. It's so competitive. It's great to watch. And we're seeing now this man back in WRC2 after his step up to WRC, Adrien Formeau, who has, well, let's be frank, he's been exceptionally impressive. Yeah,
he's been a bit of a revelation. I think you know, to do the performance he did on both gravel and tarmac, first time in the WRC car on those surfaces was mighty. And yeah, it's always fascinating to see a driver step back from the fast pace into a Rally 2 car. Everything just feels so easy then, because you're going slower, you feel you can drive it faster. So. Yeah, I think it should be great to see Adrien, and it's that great benchmark as well for those guys in WRC2. We've seen, you know, this is what the pace is at the front of the rally as well.
And there's the car of Nikolai Greisin just pulling into the stop control, and always a driver who is in the mix right to the front of the field as well. dynamic pace from Gries in on almost every event. He is very exciting to watch, I have to say. Let's hear from him with Molly. Very good time on that shakedown run.
Morning, Nikolai. You've shown some incredible pace so far this season. Are you targeting a win this weekend?
Everything possible, like Tanak says. But I will do my best. It's quite difficult rally because here you need a fortune, because it could be quite possible to get punctures. So you need to push and be on the road. So it's quite difficult. Even here, I was not pushing at all because only in the first corner I was so close to the brick, and I decided like, okay, this shakedown is we need the tires. So I was doing quite like easy run, but it seems like strange conditions on I don't know, maybe on the hard tires it feels like, but it's I will check the car because it's sometimes good, sometimes not, so you don't feel the constant on the stage. But the tarmac plates, the tarmac part was quite tricky on this stage because it has to be with the gravel. So, but the rest is okay. See you.
See you. All of that and then see you. Thanks, Nikolai. Well, he says it was quite a measured run through there. However, it was by far and away the quickest WRC2 time through there with a time of 1:58.4. Fastest through, even though he said he was saving his tyres and really not pushing that hard.
Yeah, I think his engineer's probably got all the information he needs from his interview there.
For the rest of the weekend?
Absolutely, yeah.
No, it is great. That I love Nikolai's stage end because he doesn't hold back. He tells us absolutely everything, and obviously we love that. We love the info. Yeah,
it's great to see these drivers that are so expressive and giving us the full lowdown of what they've experienced.
He always comes out with something funny as well. I think the car wasn't behaving for him. I can't remember what exactly was the issue at some point in Portugal because he had a few. He said that the car is not getting as sweet this weekend. It's just these odd things he comes out with. It's brilliant. Let's hear from Formo then.
Good morning. What is it like to be back in this car again?
Yeah, it's interesting, to be honest. I need to take my feet back because okay, it's maybe a bit a long time now when I wasn't in the car. So yeah, I need to try different things and find my pace with the car. But I'm confident I will find quite quickly. Thank you.
I'm sure he will. Let's take a look then at the classifications through the first run of Shakedown with Ogier with the fastest time through on run 1, 1:54.8. Then it was Evans just 9/10 behind, then Neuville and Tanak, Sordo, Greensmith. Then the first of our WRC2 drivers, Nikolai Gries in 7th fastest, then Katsuta, Mikkelsen and Osberg to the top 10 on run 1 of Shakedown. You can see the beautiful service park in our shot there. Let's head out into the service park now.
Well, buongiorno and a good Thursday morning to you from the service park. Well, it's been a long 7 years since we got here, but the sun is shining, ready to welcome us. Well, of course, alongside me this morning is Paul King. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? It's lovely, yeah, as you say, back at Olbia for the first time in 7 years, so across the other side of the island from Alghero, which we're used to recently.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful scenes out on those rough, rugged gravel tracks and sun baking them down. It's going to be a difficult weekend. Now, interesting, going through that shakedown pretty much went in terms of fastest through in road order, which perhaps we weren't expecting to see, but Gus mentioned that it's pretty much like tarmac out there.
Yeah, it seemed like strange conditions, didn't it? But yeah, I very much doubt this is what we're going to see come tomorrow morning with Ogier again road sweeping. Of course, he's just 2 points ahead of Evans, isn't he, in that championship? Yeah, yes, the fight is on between those two in the championship, but I'd be very surprised if we see anything like those sort of road conditions tomorrow, where the advantage should be for the guys running further back. But yeah, wonderful start to the two Toyota boys this morning, certainly.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, like you said, the battle between Ogier and Evans is on. Evans hunting just the 2 points behind that you mentioned. And as we just saw as well, a good shakedown from Elvin. He's got to have the confidence behind him now with that win off the back of Portugal.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, look what Thierry did on second on the road last time out in Portugal. It's not impossible. Just having that one guy ahead of you can make the difference. So it'd be really interesting to see what Elvin can do. Yeah, he's got to be full of confidence, hasn't he? Taking that fourth career victory last time out. So, but let's see. I can't see the Hyundais are going to take some beating this weekend.
They are. Well, as we just said, Hyundai Land, it is here. So the last 5 years have been won by their drivers, and the last 4 wins have come in their cars. So this car works well here. We know that at least.
Yeah, it's such a strong car, isn't it? It's strange in a way, actually, because some of these stages are quite sort of gnarly. But yeah, it's going to be tough to beat. And Teemu Suninen, don't write him off. He's had his PB here of 2nd place a couple of years ago too. So I'm interested to see what Suninen could do as well as these Hyundais. But I think they're going to take some beating.
Yeah, indeed. Well, can Danny Sordo get that hat-trick he is chasing? Well, it's a busy weekend, 20 stages in all. So let's give you an idea of what and when. So 8 o'clock tomorrow morning will be stage 1 right the way through a busy day of 8 stages. At 8:45, we'll be back in the studio in the service park. 6:45 on Saturday, sorry, I skipped a whole day. Saturday, 9 stage in the morning, and then right the way through till stage 16. And then Sunday, the power stage will decide it all. 17 to 20, starting at 6:30 in the morning and finishing up around about 1:45. Remember, all of those times are local times, so make sure you tune in and join all of the action throughout all of the weekend. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you for the ceremonial start a bit later on today.